Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
This is night cam reporter Tim Pamplin. We're just arriving on the scene in Hamtramck. A large fire. Firefighters are letting the building burn down. They're trying to protect what is next door. We'll bring you to the scene coming up.
A school district that had been doing a great job with in-person learning hit a major snag. Tonight, the district got together to discuss, and parents begged for them not to change things.
Michigan stamps its election certified, and in the process appears to have touched off the official start of the transition at the White House. Off the top tonight at 11, President Trump making it clear he is not conceding, but there has been a big step tonight in the transition of power.
A lot of eyes on Lansing today. That's where the State Board of Canvassers voted 3-0 this afternoon in favor of certifying Michigan's election results. Those votes came from 2 Democrats and 1 Republican on the 4-person board.
The other Republican, Norm Schenkel, abstained from voting, citing what he believed to be issues with Detroit and Wayne County's results. Now, shortly after the vote to certify, the wheels started turning in the transition of power. General Services Agency head Emily Murphy, a Trump appointee, signed off on a letter saying Joe Biden is the, quote, apparent president-elect, and that he may coordinate with federal agencies and access federal funds to begin his transition to power. Her letter citing recent developments involving legal challenges and certifications of election results.
The president then tweeted, quote, our case strongly continues. We will keep up the good fight, and I believe we will prevail. Nevertheless, in the best interest of our country, I am recommending that Emily and her team do what needs to be done with regard to initial protocols and have told my team to do the same.
Biden transition team responded with a statement reading in part, today's decision is a needed step to begin tackling the challenges facing our nation, including getting the pandemic under control and our economy back on track.
So it's now official that Michigan's 16 electoral votes will go to Joe Biden, but the process isn't quite done.
Mara McDonald live downtown tonight. There is more scrutiny to come, Mara.
There sure is, Devin. The Secretary of State has already said there's going to be a statewide audit now that these votes have been certified, but also a closer look, not just statewide, but at counties like Wayne that had significant counting clerical errors. 800 people signed up to speak and thousands watched as the Board of State Canvassers met to vote in Lansing on whether to certify Michigan's election results.
The Bureau has not identified any irregularities this year other than the typical occasional human error that is always part of the process. Overall, we had an extremely well-run and secure election.
Outside the meeting, a drive-by rally urging the vote to be certified. The drama surrounding this process started last week at the Wayne County Board of Canvassers, where the 2 GOP members of that board initially voted not to certify, then voted to certify. It all set up a showdown here at the state level.
I mean, we're not a court here. We don't have judicial power. We don't have the authority to conduct a trial here on whether or not election fraud occurred.
Tonight, the 2 Democrats on the state board and 1 GOP member voted to certify. The other GOP member didn't vote no, but abstained. This is the latest decisive blow to the Trump campaign's ongoing legal challenges here that courts keep throwing out. After Michigan certified, the Biden campaign received a letter from the General Services Administration, or GSA, that the Trump administration is ready to begin the formal transition process. Back here live. So what's next at the state legislature? The Republican-led legislature has convened committees to listen to allegations of voting irregularities. And important to point out, at this point, they have found absolutely no indication of voter fraud. Kimberly, Devin, back to you.
But Mara, we did hear a lot of talk again today about the unbalanced votes, the unbalanced books with Detroit's absentee counting boards.
Which is a problem, Devin. You know, it was a problem in the primary and it is a problem in the general. They've got to figure it out. Not for the presidential numbers. To be clear, we're talking about 400 or so votes that are hanging here, trying to figure out what exactly happened with these unbalanced counts that have no explanation. That doesn't affect the presidential numbers, but it certainly does affect local races.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't recount precincts in close races, you got a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Where the margin is never as it is statewide. All right, Mara.
Firefighters hard at work tonight trying to stop the spread of flames in Hamtramck.
No human lives in immediate danger here. The concern, protecting a lot of important equipment for a neighboring small business. Tim Pamplin there with the night cam. Tim.
This unoccupied home going up in flames this evening on Conant, just north of Davison. This is on the Hamtramck side of Conant. Firefighters have gone on the defensive, meaning they're not going to try and put this fire out. They're just going to make sure it doesn't spread. Their concern is what's to the south. As I pull out here, you'll see the red construction equipment, 18-wheelers, dump trucks. That all belongs to Good Choice Construction out of Warren. They store all their equipment here. Firefighters keeping a close eye on all that tonight, making sure that stays safe. Firefighters have been dousing that equipment down with water as they allow this home here, this single-story dwelling, to burn down to the ground. That is the scene on Conant tonight with the night cam. Tim Pamplin, Local 4.
All right, Tim. Now to the coronavirus in Michigan. The state reporting 11,511 new confirmed cases with 65 new deaths over the past 2 days. The state also says there are new outbreaks at 53 more schools. There is some encouraging news on the vaccine front. Oxford University and AstraZeneca say its vaccine is up to 90% effective. Public schools in Northville have been able to successfully pull off a hybrid school year with students learning in person. But tonight, the district met to discuss the future of in-person learning. Jason Colthorpe is in Northville. So, Jason, what did they decide?
Well, this has been quite the meeting, Kimberly. First of all, they've had an issue there with 75 students have had to quarantine, and that goes back to some off-campus parties. Students responsible for that, including a party bus, and believe me, that came up in the meeting tonight. Well, the superintendent came with her plan for the future, but then parents sounded off, and now board members are rethinking all of it.
Whatever it is that happens tonight is certainly not going to please everyone.
An understatement to be sure from Northville Superintendent Mary Kay Gallagher as she laid out her recommendation for the district. Following the mandatory 3-week shutdown of high schools, Gallagher wants to keep the middle and high schools virtual until January 19th. Elementaries would take a week on, week off approach.
My second grader absolutely cannot learn on a computer.
During public comments, several parents who are also doctors and healthcare workers pushed hard for in-person learning.
I am here to tell you it is safe for kids to be in school. You guys are telling us that as well. You have proved to us in multiple different slides, in multiple different comments, that school transmission is not occurring.
And while many parents relayed the stress on their households because of virtual learning, some teachers said the stress is on them.
Although the students are our top priority, you should be aware that many of our teachers are at their breaking point. The stress is too much for them to do their job to their expectations.
Another problem, other than the rising number of cases, is the rising need for substitute teachers, up 45% since October.
And some teachers sounded off about that. That's also a very much a concern. Now, this meeting is still going on, and we're actually watching in real time as they change the district calendar to reflect all of this. Board members have talked it out with each other and the head of the teachers union about what teachers are willing to do, and kind of the bottom line is they are moving to more in-person rather than all virtual, so we'll have to wait and see how this all shakes out and what they decide. But a couple parents tonight said, hey, parents, if you want your kids in school, you can't let them be out there partying, especially on a party bus. You have to be responsible. Of course, it's all subject to change. We're in Northville tonight. Jason Colthorpe, Local 4.
Hey, Jason, thank you.
Well, Barry Sanders is not laughing. The Lions legend has some strong words about a new beer poking fun at the team's ongoing struggles.
We'll have that coming up, and here's Ben.
Everybody's bundled up tonight as we head towards our coldest night of the forecast, but temperatures looking up for Thanksgiving Day. That's after we expect some snow and rain, and we'll look at that coming up.